somebody to come by and help us.
How long were you waiting on the car?
About 2 days, I think.
2 days.
Yeah.
Donnell, how do you feel about it?
Bullshit. She's waiting on her car for 2 fucking days, people. The water is fucking up to his knees. That's it. Where are you standing at? You tell me this isn't a setup? It is. It's a setup set. Why wouldn't they do it over there where they rescued him at? That's where you want to see the magic. Is where it's happening. Isn't that what news is about? Why bring them all the way down here, dress them up in Sunday clothes, put hats on them, take them to the fucking barbershop, give them some fucking accessories, put raincoats over them, dress them up and have them smile at you with a fucking with a Mason symbolism with the 66 right here for deception. Why do all that? Why? She has her nails are done. Okay? She looked like she'd been waiting on the top of a car for 2 days. Fake. Show this to people. They're tired of this shit. Sick of it. It's the reason why people are divided. Because of these fucking channels like this. Cable news. And regular mainstream media news. And even the alternative media is fooling people. You don't have a chance when the mainstream media is playing the driver's position and you got alternative media people out here taking shots from every fucking angle. You don't have a chance. They control this shit. All your favorite channels on YouTube are fake. Get over it.
Oh, we're just grateful. That's all it is, too. We're grateful.
Stop. Mason hat. There's the symbol, the compass, right there in your fucking face. See it? And it even has the soul. S-O-L, I believe that is.
Listen to me. Yeah, listen to me. Ooh, even if I'm off key, listen to me. Why don't you listen to me?
Oh, we're just grateful. That's all it is, too. We're grateful.
Stop. Mason hat. There's the symbol, the compass, right there in your fucking face. See it? And it even has the soul. S-O-L, I believe that is right there. Or, I can't see the name of it, but we'll see, we'll take a look at that. But that's the Mason symbol right there in your face again. There's 3 Mason symbols. One on the war, one on the umbrella, and one right here. That's 3 of them right in your face. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not. It's not a coincidence, people, at all. It just isn't a coincidence at all. Show people this shit. Let them know that these people created this. There's people suffering in fucking Houston because of these idiots, these orchestrated shit that they did. Let them know there's people there doing that, and also let them know that they're faking it. When you tell people, show them. CNN is faking it. There are real people down there hurting, and they're faking it. Playing on the emotions of real shit that's going on. It's the skankiest damn thing in the world.
To God and to you guys for just coming out to see about us, because we have been calling these numbers that were given to us and no one ever came. We kept getting excuses or, should I say, past.
Stop. You just busted his ass. That was a fucking producer or director right behind him. Watch this shit. It's a fucking skank-ass fucking security. Watch. See ya? The fucking...
Because we have been...
Right there. Here he is right there. Reporter or security guard with a fucking thing in his ear. That's probably a government asshole. She had her nails done and her hair done and she had a Sunday dress on, for Christ's sake. Was she on the car for 2 days? You telling me this man couldn't get over off the car across the street or something? Well, you couldn't even use something in your car for a floating device? Jesus, come on, give me a break here. Wait till you see how deep the water is right here where they're at. You're going to love it. And they're standing in the water. Why? Why are they standing in the water if they're on safe ground? Why? Because it's fucking part of it. It gives you more than you need.
But y'all sit here, y'all trying to interview people during their worst times. Like, that's not the smartest thing to do. Like, people are really breaking down and y'all sitting here with cameras and microphones trying to ask us what the fuck is wrong with us.
I'm so
and you
sorry,
really
ma'am.
trying to understand it with the microphone still in my face, with me shivering cold, with my kids wet, and you still putting the microphone in my face.
Sorry.
Well, they just threw her a line. I just saw a line being thrown to her from that opposite side. So let's see what
She's
happens.
got a hold of
here.
it.
She's got a hold of
Steve,
it.
we're going to turn it over to you.
She's coming to the side, and there it is. Looks like she's been rescued. They just bumped into something.
It looks like that gentleman who
he's
is pulling
grabbing
her
her.
onto
Grabbing
that
her.
boat right now as we speak.
Wow.
There you go.
Grabbing her.
Jumped right into action.
With no life vest on, she's heavy because she's wet. I don't know how much she weighs,
Look at
but
her.
she's heavy because she's wet.
she's just
And he
laying down
reached
like
right
that.
over there and grabbed her by her shirt and pulled her on up to safety. Not knowing what's below that, as you said, that could be hitting his boat. Amazing.
Wait a minute. She just
Did you
jumped
say
back
she
in.
jumped back in? My
Okay,
photographer
what is wrong
Chris
with
is
this
saying
woman?
that she just jumped back in.
Oh,
Okay,
my
she
gosh.
just jumped back in. This is clearly someone who does not want to be
You're
rescued.
saying that she jumped back in.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
I don't
that
understand
coincides
that,
with what
but you
eyewitnesses
saw
were
her
telling
just
us out
jump
here
back
that she
in.
was distraught.
That she was so distraught.
You know what?
She
when
may have a
someone's-
mental health problem because
Yeah, I think that's who we're dealing
obviously,
with, Steve.
this breaks your heart because obviously she was not comfortable hanging onto the wall. That was obvious.
But she was laying down. She was perfectly
She was
safe. There
perfectly
was
safe.
no reason for her to get off the edge again. But she clearly has other issues, I think, that we're dealing with here. Because even a person in shock would not do that. It would just
No,
they would
there's
just
something
stay
else going on.
Look at this. Get out, dude. You got a power cord? You got a rope? Give me. Not that long. Hold on, I'm trying to get you a rope. All right, buddy, come on, get up out of that water. No, don't go backwards. You all right? No, ma'am. No, ma'am, we got a car in a ditch. We just pulled a fellow out. Lord have mercy. Are you all right now, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, take your breath, and we're going to pick you up. We're going to get you off of this bank. Okay?
Just a second.
We're going to get you off of this bank. We just literally rescued this guy out. You can see his car, John. I don't know, Brian, are you working on that video? This man just accidentally drove into a ravine that looked like a road, didn't it?
Yeah.
Looked just like a road. And his truck just went in, and it's now going down that ravine, and we just pulled him out of the ravine. It happens within seconds. This is why it's so dangerous right now to be out. It's unbelievable to be out. Come on, sir, let's get you up into the dry. Literally, he came, it looked like, you can show me right there, it looked just like a street, right? Yeah. But it wasn't a street, it's a ravine that's covered up. His car got jumped, a white truck. It's now banged up against the side of the ravine, and whew. How you doing? Great. Lord have mercy. This is too much of a time for you to be interviewed right now. I just want you to... Are you doing all right? Your heart doing okay? Okay. You're alive, sir. You're alive. Why don't you just go step out of the rain for a second? John, this literally just happened. Scott and I and Brian Rokas just rescued this fellow. There was no time to call 911. He was floating down this ravine. That's his truck. That's his truck right behind me. All right, no profanity. It's live TV, you okay?
No profanity.
All right, I'm just saying, it's a... It's an
No,
emotional moment.
hey, I want to thank these guys for saving my life. Thank you.
Where are you from, buddy?
Winnie, Texas.
Winnie, Texas. So you
Yeah.
guys have been hit pretty hard in Winnie, Texas.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Jerry Summerall.
Jerry, somebody needs to come and get you. Jerry
I'm staying at the
Summerall.
motel right up here.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Well, just take a breath. Take a breath. Get some water. I just can't believe that just happened, John. I don't know what to tell you. The guy's truck is floating away.
Bear with me.
Denali, XL, Suburban, whatever you want to call it. For those of you that are giving your hard-earned money to the Red Cross, I'd like to show you something. I'm shaking, I'm so mad, sorry. So the Red Cross was instructed here in Houston to throw away all the dog food, all the crates, all the blankets that you donated with your hard-earned money. There are 3 of these bags. They're filled with brand new Red Cross blankets, still in plastic wrap. 500 pounds of food that was going to be thrown away. Fortunately, the volunteers from all over the United States got a hold of a friend of mine and told them their situation. This completely filled my vehicle. I'm going back for the second load. It's free, and they are instructed to throw it all away because they can get more, according to the director down here in Houston at the Red Cross. They can get more for Florida. So just throw it away. Throw away 600 blankets, crates, 500 pounds of dog food. Well done, Red Cross. Please feel free to share this. I'm going for another one.
Kids' toys here. Look at this. That's some sheetrock rebuilding. Money to rebuild. What are you gonna do?
So I'm crying for my brother, crying for my sister, crying for the dream undone. I'm crying for this feeling, crying for the healing, crying for the wisdom.
Clarence Wilson. And where are you from, Clarence?
I'm from 10450 Dusty Lane, Beaumont.
And a week ago, you got the rains came out of nowhere, right?
Nah, I've been here a week.
You've been here a week?
I've been up in Dallas 3 weeks.
Why were you up in Dallas?
That's where they took me to.
From here? Is your home here?
Yeah.
And they took you to Dallas and brought you back down here?
Yeah.
Has that happened to a lot of people?
All the people that I know.
Everybody in your neighborhood got shipped out?
Yeah.
How did you get out with the water so high?
A guy plucked me out of the water. The water was here.
Up to your neck?
Yeah. Then it was a damn snake behind me.
Who rescued you?
Some people lived down the street in a little boat. They knew I live in a rural area.
Right. So was it local people that rescued, or was it FEMA?
Yeah, local people.
And they took you to where?
Higher ground.
And then you waited until, how'd you get here?
Some people took me to a church. Then the church brought me to the airport. The airport put me on a C-130.
Wow, so you lost everything?
Yeah.
And your family, where's your family?
I don't have no family. It leaves here.
And then you're gonna hopefully get back in your home someday?
Yeah.
And did the rains it wasn't like a hurricane of anybody?
No, just rain. And I'll tell you something else. They let the water out the dam. That what messes me up.
What dam?
2 of them. Here, Dam B and another one.
I heard that's what really made the mess was when they broke the dam.
Yeah, that what made the mess. Everything was fine until they opened the dam.
Well, how many days into it was the dam open? When did they open the dam?
Mister, my days are lost.
Right, I understand.
I don't know. Only thing I know today is Sunday, the beginning of the week. I've been gone almost 5 weeks.
Because it happened right at the end of August.
Yeah.
And now we're at September 24th.
See that?
So you've been gone almost a month.
Almost 5 weeks.
I'm sorry, sir. Your name?
My name is Erica.
Erica, and this is your home.
Yes, it is.
Tell me what happened, Erica.
It was late at night, and we were about to go to bed, and it had been raining a lot like it does, but it never floods here. We got a few sandbags just as a precaution, and suddenly I was out on the back porch, and I felt my feet got cold, and there was water coming up. So I went to the kitchen, which was only a few steps away, and I told my mother, I think we're flooding a little bit. By the time she got to the door, it was coming in. It just came in.
In the middle of the night?
Yes. It was about 1:32 in the morning, and from everywhere. It just came in like a whoosh, like a flood thing. We pay out of pocket because we don't. We're working on an inventory list, for the insurance company. But until that's done, and it's all out of pocket. It's me and my mother.
But most people don't have insurance, right?
A lot of people don't. We know a lot of people who did not have any sort of insurance, and they're waiting for FEMA. But FEMA keeps saying, we're coming, we'll come. But no one that I know, no one here, no one in that part of Port Arthur. I've spoken to people in Nederland, Port Neches. None of them have seen a FEMA person. No one here has seen or heard from a FEMA representative at all.
What about Red Cross?
We've been having to stay in Leesville in Louisiana. That was the closest FEMA place that was available, that was open.
Right.
Because everyone, people were fleeing.
Right.
And that's 2.5 hours away.
Now you're telling me that everywhere you go, FEMA's nowhere.
Right. You have a list on on their website, and they tell you where the participating hotels. You pick your state and go by city, and you can call them and see if they have vacancies. They don't. The closest one was 2.5 hours away, where
Right.
the dam released the water and really affected the people a lot. I mean,
Well, I'm hearing the dam was a bigger problem than the storm.
the release, yeah.
So they had to release it, or?
During the storm, it couldn't hold the water. There was too much water. They had to release, and it just somehow got out of hand, or they didn't anticipate how much water it would be. Some people who even moved their houses lost everything.
Oh my gosh.
And that's up north from here.
So-
We've spoken to people all up and down the country here is what I'm saying. And they were devastated all up there around the dam. Those are the people who seem to have lost the most as far as people we've spoken to. But there are people down here in Port Arthur who had water up to their roofs. And most of those people, a lot of those people didn't have any insurance. And I know people who live in several places who are also evacuees with us at this hotel.
Right.
None of them have heard from a FEMA representative, an inspector. We call, we're on hold for 140 minutes, and we just wait and wait, and they tell us you're on the list and it's pending or something. A few people who actually got it, they were people with children who lost everything. I applied, my mother applied. They said, well, we'll send you a text message or we'll get back to you, and it's been like 2 weeks. You don't hear from them. Hey, don't eat that. So by the time I got out here, they had it all moved. The children, the mother, across the street. I mean, that's how everyone's getting by right now.
They're helping each other. Yo, you're on your own is what I say.
When the flood first came, the water was getting higher and higher, and it was just a flow. And so we know this is not a regular flood. A regular flood comes gradually. This was a whoosh of water.
It said 50 inches in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Is what the fire department guy told me.
Like in one day, it ended up being, the news channel 12 just said like 62. It was more than we get in a year. We get a lot of rain, but this neighborhood had never flooded before. Never. Through any hurricane, through any tropical storm. So, the rescuers who came the next day, why didn't y'all evacuate? Well, it was only a tropical storm. We're used to that. We're accustomed to that.
Right.
When no one knew that it would dump so much water in like one day or in a couple of days. Ours, we pulled out the carpet, we started trying to clean, and mold, just white mold, started growing all over the living room floor, and it was all kinds. Some looked like cotton, some looked like something you'd see in the sea flowing in the breeze.
Oh my gosh.
It was quite beautiful, but I was like, what the heck is this? Then we were getting black mold, green mold on everything. It happened fast because it's very humid here. And the neighbors next door, oh, we cleaned up, everything's fine, and we told them, check inside of your walls. Well, they did, and they found mold. So, and went and checked on Diane, banged on her door like a crazy person. She came out in her slippers, and she just looked down and saw the water coming and said, I understand. We had a friend, Danny, here. Danny Hilton, he had to come here because his house had flooded with like 4 or 5 feet of water. He has no insurance, none. And so he came here to evacuate. He was sleeping on the floor when the flood came. I only had time to say, Danny, get up, it's flooding, there's water coming in. He sat up and said, what? And stood up, and by the time he did that, his bedding was floating. And it just happened so fast. her father is a shrimper. He got his shrimp boat and went to save some of their friends and family who were flooded in the shrimp boat. If you can imagine a shrimp boat going through the neighborhoods.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
what people did.
I heard that. I heard the locals had their boats coming and saving people because there's nobody around to help them.
They were overwhelmed. They were so overwhelmed. As soon as dawn came, of course we didn't sleep. As soon as dawn, all these boats started coming in. All these people from everywhere. We met people from Missouri. We met people from Austin, Dallas, from Louisiana. We met people from Missouri. I know I'm going to forget some, but I mean all over.
Just regular people, not
regular people.
Not
regular
FEMA,
citizens, regular citizens who had come and came and were ready, and they came at dawn so that they could see. By then we were all up, we hadn't slept, and a lot of people were out, but a lot of people weren't. So they would ask us and come by, are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you need water? And we thought it would recede and we could just clean it up and it would be fine. Oh, we're okay, we're okay. So they went down, they were doing helicopter rooftop rescues about 5 houses down also. So there was that. But as far as an official presence, a boat came and picked up my neighbor and her elderly mother, and I think she said he was from Tennessee. And anyway, this was all civilians, regular guys with their boats of all kinds, just helping. Where can we help? And getting directions from people where to go and help.
Did anybody get stuck in their homes?
There was a man, he doesn't live here. He doesn't live in this neighborhood. He lives closer to the seawall. An elderly person, it was flooded to the roof, and he drowned in his home. I'm sure there were others, but that one we know of for sure. And because I've met people who knew the elderly person.
What's your name?
Erica?
Erica, I'm Jamie. Thank you for your story.
I'm sorry, I could go on all day.
No, I really appreciate it because this is a story that needs to get out, and that's why I came out here because it's not in the news anymore. You guys are completely off the radar of this.
Yes, and we have felt many times and have said, it's not over for us. I know a lot's happening right now, from Mexico City to Florida and Puerto Rico, and it's overwhelming. And people thought, okay, this place just flooded, they're sorted. We're not. Nothing is back to normal yet. So it's regular people relying on each other. At our hotel, there are regular people from Leesville, Louisiana, who bring hot meals for us. The hotel cooks 2 hot meals a week for dinner. And once or twice a week, a family or a church will bring food for all of us still. And so we feel, though, largely forgotten by everyone else. And I even spoke with a man today from Nederland, and he said, we have each other, and that's what we have to, that's what we've got. And we won't let the boat sink. We're going to stay afloat, and we're going to be okay. And that's what it is. It's neighbors. We didn't know each other before the flood, but during the flood, we got each other out. We checked on each other. We shared each other's shock, and now we share this common experience, and we're just helping each other any way we can. But we all have very limited means. We're not getting. None of us have seen an inspector. But at the same time, I know they're overwhelmed. I know they are. I don't want to criticize them too much, but I haven't met anyone from Orange to, Nederland, Port Neches, anything, who have seen an inspector. But they were present in 2 little towns up north by the dam to answer questions and help people with questions about their applications and what they can do, what their options are. The Red Cross has come by a couple of times, they said. It infuriated some people because apparently, I don't know for sure, because people talk and stories change, but apparently it was like it was like half of a hot dog cut up.
Oh gosh.
With like a piece of cornbread and like a drink, and people are like, what the hell is this? You may as well bring nothing. Where's all this money you're getting? And I haven't seen the Red Cross. I've passed them twice on the road, in different places, but I've never seen him in person.
Hey folks, welcome to another video from aplaintruth.info. A lot going on, so I'm going to cover it. I'm going to cover the land, sea, and air manipulation of weather terrorism, geoengineering from all three, land, sea, and air, and there's very few that are covering all three. But this is a document from the U.S. Department of State clearly stating that any geoengineering weather manipulation is terrorism. And we're seeing it now on Mexico, Gulf of Mexico, Lydia. We're seeing it with the Hurricane Harvey and now Irma, and there's actually one forming behind it that are clearly geoengineered and man-made. A lot of discussion going on, but I want to bring you to this document here, and this document shows clearly, this is from the IPCC and the Royal Society, showing land, sea, and air-based geoengineering methods. Yet few in the geoengineering community are even acknowledging that there is all these different devices being used. And I also want to address Mr. Dane Wigginton at Geoengineering Watch assertion that there's no such thing as wet surface air coolers and they can't be proven and they can't manipulate weather. But one thing that's not being covered is the massive fires being used for geoengineering. They're going on all over the world, as I've been chronicling, everywhere. We haven't seen the real sun here in days. Fires across California and Oregon and Idaho currently is understanding is that this is being done because the carbon formed from the fires is being used to help steer the weather, to help create convections, to help create weather that will facilitate these hurricanes so they can increase intensity as part of the weather wars, geoterrorism being conducted across the world. And I'll show that the fires here in the West aren't just localized. It's also going on in Canada, it's also going on in Siberia, and it's also going on across in Africa, which Weather War 101 is showing how it is coming across the Atlantic and being steered across the Atlantic. Looks like it's going to hit Florida now, but they can move it as they want using land, sea, and air device weather warfare terrorism that they're using. So take a look right here at this picture of Africa, and then you'll see in Africa all the fires down below Central Africa. And as I'll get into the next video about the ocean-based machines, this is how they start it with the fires, and then they can steer it from wherever they want. So we need to be waking up. We need to understand that this is a war going on. This is their order out of chaos, folks, order out of chaos that they have the double eagle for right here. And you can see they're creating chaos throughout the world as they're threatening to bomb North Korea and provoking North Korea by dropping bombs right next door. Japan has announced they're pulling over 30,000 troops out of North Korea. So it's order out of chaos. So keep your sanity and keep cool. And the other thing I want to make clear is that NASA is a military operation. It is not here to serve us. It is here it's run by the Department of Defense. And here you see the NOAA and their Doppler radar system, the RF frequencies that they're using. Right next to the NOAA building, they have these facilities that are used for steering weather. How can anybody not see this and be aware? Everybody sees these golf balls. This is what they do. They manipulate the weather by using RF frequencies from the ground, creating the smoke, creating the water vapor machines. This is an article from Monday, August 20th, Natural News. Posted this very important article that included work from Weather 101, his very important work, and also my work, a couple of my videos on here, and also gave Plain Truth a little shout out too, which is one of the first times anybody's linked my site on any of these well watched, well viewed. But it was very, like I said earlier, it was a very open piece as to whether or not it's being created at. But I just want to note here, so this is the article here, it's out of the year, it's number 2 already for the year, and this was just from August 18th. But you go to today on the Mike Adams Natural News site, clicking over. So you look into today and it's not even listed. This article is not even listed on the most viewed articles today or the week. Now there was over 570,000 views, I believe, the other day when we looked at the site, and now it's showing 0. So you see how this works, folks. Geo Engineering Watch came out and said wet surface air coolers weren't working, weren't impossible, and all of a sudden the article disappears, but you can still see it here, number 4 in the year. But as of today, this is the Weather War 101, and a subsequent post. Apparently he's going to do an interview. So I just want to bring your heads up to that. All right, let's get into this wet surface air coolers.
Are we to believe the conclusions that trillions upon trillions of gallons of atmospheric moisture could be somehow pumped into the atmosphere to feed a hurricane like Hurricane Harvey? Again, this is a verifiably false narrative which completely discredits the anti-geoengineering cause. What's the most recent glaring example of verifiably false and discrediting information being pushed by some individuals and websites? Many are claiming that most or all of the atmospheric moisture and precipitation for massive storms like Hurricane Harvey is coming from land-based cooling towers, which are a component of power generating facilities.
So immediately I want to address the fact that there is patents for weather modification using nuclear power plants and wet surface air coolers. And you can see right here in this patent, method for weather modification and vapor generator for weather modification. This water vapor is jetted towards the sky, culmination through a vapor discharge. And then you can see down here, let me move this over, weather modification using nuclear fusion reactor or nuclear fission heat source as a thermal exchanger charged with water to be heated for vapor generation. The method compromising introducing a circulation pipe, blah, 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 jetting a vapor, a state of columns prepared with a vapor discharge pipe into the sky and forming a cloud in the sky with jet vapor for blocking sunlight, that's a misnomer, so as to reduce the temperature on the surface of the earth. Solar radiation management, but that's not what it's being used for, folks. And here's another one, weather modification using microencapsulated material, a hygroscopic chemical agent utilized in cloud or fog seeding, optimization of particle size for improved seeding results is obtained. So you can see there's tons and tons of patents, and I just don't understand why Geo Engineering Watch or anybody else can't find these patents and show you clearly that this is being used for weather manipulation, and that is possible.
Short informational presentation was done at the request of numerous activists who asked me to address the claims of power plant cooling towers being used to supply the atmospheric moisture for climate engineering. The battle to fully expose and halt climate engineering is the most important challenge of our time. The only chance we have of prevailing in this epic battle is by standing on solid and factually verifiable conclusions.
So here we see countless and countless wet nuclear plants, energy plants, putting water vapor high up into the air to create the clouds and water vapor generators to combine with the cloud condensation nuclei, the barium salt being sprayed with the chemtrails, the Doppler, NEXRAD, or next generation radars to steer the systems, and they're all connected across the country, across the states to coordinate the absolute control of the weather. This is how they do it, folks. Here it is. Look at that. You don't think they can use all this to manipulate weather? You think this is all industry producing this stuff? No way. This is water vapor generators because weather terrorism and climate collapse has occurred. They're also using these systems to create the weather wherever they want because they can steer it. They can create hurricanes now. They're huge intensities, category 6, beyond category. They're creating out. Look at these. How can anyone say they do not generate weather? And here's all the coal plants that are being used to create all the bad that destroyed our weather systems. We've been using coal around the world for 100 years. What do you think that's done to our atmosphere? It destroyed the weather systems. And now they're having, look at this. This is how they manipulate weather. Right there it is, folks. You can see it for yourself. The clouds come in and it gets darker. Look at this. Look at the massive amount of plumage coming out. It's weather manipulation, folks. This is how they do it.
Okay, there we have it. Another clear sky day except for Exxon. Pumping it out like a mofo. Otherwise, beside the metallic haziness on the horizon and through the acute angle of the sun at morning hours, we have a completely clear sky. Except for the corridor of water vapor production. This was clear 30 minutes ago. You tell me this isn't affecting the climate and modifying the weather? And I'll tell you, you have a childlike mind. I'll say you're under mind control.
How is the critical cause of exposing and halting climate engineering being harmed of the very individuals and sources who claim to be fighting to stop climate engineering? By propagation of patently false information and conclusions that completely discredit the entire anti-geoengineering community.
Atmospheric cooling towers. Atmospheric cooling towers use no mechanical devices to move air through the tower. A cooling tower is a heat transfer device used in industry to cool water that is used in a cooling system.
Cooling towers are shell structures built of concrete in which hot water is allowed to cool. Thereby, thermal energy is released to the environment. The most well-known form is the natural draft wet cooling tower, as shown in this animation. Natural draft wet cooling towers can be up to 200 meters tall and are made up of a cold water basin, an air inlet near the bottom of the tower, evaporates. This can be seen as plumes of steam. Natural draft wet cooling towers function according to the simple principle of the stack effect, also known as natural circulation effect.
Water is wet. 62,500 power plants from 2 to 240 of these wet seal air cooler blower facilities evaporating from anywhere from 18,000 gallons a minute to 700,000 gallons a minute, adding trillions of gallons of water vapor to the atmosphere and God knows how much heat, and has for the last 50 years. All right, so this is the effect of cooling towers on the atmosphere. This is from Weather Wars 101. He's citing a 1971 Zion nuclear power plant study on the effects of cooling towers on the atmosphere and weather. There are, as he states here, 62,500 of these power plants worldwide. Also, the wet surface air cooling farms that could only have one conceivable purpose, known as WSAC. All right, if we scroll down, this is the study, the effect of cooling tower effluents on atmospheric conditions in northeastern Illinois. It was done in 1971. So the study shows that it was already known back in 71 that massive amounts of water vapor from even one nuclear power plant with 4 cooling towers would have significant effects on the atmospheric conditions and weather. So here's a different independent study confirming that wet surface air cooling systems began around 1971. It says here, the waste heat removed by the cooling system during the steam condensation step must ultimately be transferred to the surrounding environment. The high heat unit capacity water has been the traditional transfer medium of choice because its relative availability, inexpensive, and reusable. Wet cooling systems use water to absorb heat via indirect contact with steam and a condenser. The heated water is either discharged to a large surface water body such as a river or lake, or passed through a cooling tower and recycled back. In either case, heat absorbed in the condenser is released to the environment through a combination of evaporation and sensible heating of the surroundings. Prior to 1990, virtually all steam electric power plants used wet cooling systems. And then it goes on to say, down here a little further, that however, in the early 1970s, new steam electric generation began using recirculated cooling. And here's a list of extensive patents on geoengineering and aerosol spray. And this seems to validate and further confirm that the wet surface air coolers were rolled out in 1971. I mean, look at all these patents that were taken out. Methods of treating atmospheric conditions by intermittent displacements of materials, weather modification methods. So it does seem to indicate that wet surface air coolers are a major component developed starting in 1971 after the Mount Zion study. It is impossible to find a power plant of any fuel type that has no wet surface air coolers whatsoever. Fog potential, this is from the Zion study, fog potential was calculated for mechanical natural draft towers and pure natural draft towers of 350 and 500 feet. Certainly, large quantities of heat released to the atmosphere will result in an increase in convection, turbulence, and cumulus clouds. So Weather Wars goes on to state, so what happened to all these concerns from 1970? They disappeared from the scientific community and from society as a whole, while simultaneously being developed as the foundation of the global engineering process. He says, we have 50 years of evidence of this reality. The very serious concerns raised by the Zion power plant study were enough to prevent their use on environmental reasons for that one plant. But subsequently, 7,000 power plants in the United States and 62,500 power plants worldwide. The potential impact of that one power plant that was deemed too great a risk to the environment now exists 62,500 times over. A Carson 1970 study states that extra heat and water vapor from cooling towers may create cumulus clouds, and that possibility of tower plumes acting as trigger to produce extra cumulus congestus clouds and precipitation miles downwind of the release must be considered. There are frequent occasions when tower plumes can be seen to evaporate and then recondense to some extent at higher altitudes further downwind. Under stable conditions with higher humidities, the plumes will persist after leveling off and appear downwind as stratus cloud covered and merge and reinforce existing cloud cover. So you see how they're altering the clouds here. And here's from Weather War 101, excellent example of the wet surface air coolers. Just like steam in a teapot, it's not rocket science, folks. It's just water vaporization. And then they take it and they move it from one to the other to steer it in the directions they need to do it. You can see it right here, one to the next one. This is how they do it. It's very clear. And then here you can see all the sites just turning on as they're creating the weather. They're creating the Doppler. They're activating the Doppler radars to steer the weather, as you can see here. Watch it develop, and then they steer it as they direct it. The weather doesn't form on land. It needs water sources, hydrological cycles. You need an ocean. You need a sea. You need a lake. These are appearing on land. They're being created by these machines. Water, vapor, wet surface air coolers directed by NEXRAD Doppler systems. It's very clear, and it's been going on for decades and decades. And why anybody in the truth movement can't see this or can't acknowledge that these are being used and they're being manipulated to change the weather is beyond my understanding. But Weather War 101 has done an incredible job of documenting this, as you can well see.
Storms like Hurricane Harvey. They claim that the rising convection cells seen in satellite images of Harvey over the extremely warm Gulf of Mexico is proof of these water vapor machines.
And here's the water vapor generation devices, the wet surface air coolers, and they can make weather or they can steer weather either way. So here they got the weather they generated, as we showed in the previous video, and here you see in its counter-cyclical, counterclockwise direction, and here there's the steering devices, the ground-based wet surface air coolers, water vapor machines, and also the NEXRAD Doppler systems. Those are the NEXRAD Doppler steering stations he's highlighting here. And he's showing you where they are, and then also where the wet surface air coolers are. So this is what they look like. You see these cross hatches. This is all the wet surface water vapor generating machines to create the weather. And once they shoot it up in the sky, combine it with the barium salts, they can do anything with the weather, folks. They can do whatever they want. And here, Weather War 101 is showing you where all the facilities are, how they're being made, and what they're using to make the weather with. But it's also combined with the Doppler radar system, the NEXRAD generation radar RF frequencies that are steering the weather.
Are we to believe the conclusions that trillions upon trillions of gallons of atmospheric moisture could be somehow pumped into the atmosphere to feed a hurricane like Hurricane Harvey? Again, this is a verifiably false narrative which completely discredits the anti-Geo Engineering cause.
All right, so in answer to the question about wet surface air coolers and the water supplies, this is from the Stennis Space Center in Mississippi that was shown in the video, creating the water vapors that were creating the weather to create rain. And if you look at Stennis, look at this picture here, folks. There's the water supply. There's the water supply. How about if we look at the plants here? Bring this over here so you can see better. There's the water supply, folks. Look at all the plants with all the water supplies. That's where they get all the water from. So that's explained. Another picture. I could go on, but these are the water sources. Also, they have pipes, tunnels. They can transport water from great distances.
Ever wonder where the rain comes from? Here it is. This is Lamar County, some kind of power plant. They're using wet surface air coolers, and they're generating clouds like you would not believe. I've just been sitting here on a bike ride, getting all wet, and it's these guys right here that are making the weather, combined with whatever other goddamn crap they're using. Talk about fucked up. Look at this stuff. Goddamn fucking cloud machines. This is where the rain comes from, people. Open your goddamn eyes.
here's the cooling towers right here where that steam's coming from. Oh, it's not really a point, but look. Alright, you've seen the cloud in other videos. The reason why it's showing up because it's very humid, you know. Alright, so this is like 3 different videos, and this is the 3rd one and the last one. And there's your cooling towers. Alright.
Anyone who's ever seen a convective storm form, especially over arid desert regions, knows that such storms are extremely common, with clouds that appear from formerly blue skies and rise tens of thousands of feet into the atmosphere. Are there invisible water vapor machines under such occurrences? Of course not.
Where's that coming off of? I mean, that's like billowing out of where? Because none of the clouds I got at the lake this morning had come off of the lake, which is a really big source of moisture, I would think. I just want to document that all these clouds aren't coming out of the water. They're like in a chain off of something over there. See how they rose up out of something particular. They were released. These are releases. Like that guy over there. Anyway. And here we go. The next rad, creating the frequency blanket. It's all going up, up, up. That's why the bottoms, that's why they have no flat bottoms anymore. They're all being pulled up. And they're not even clouds. They're anthropogenic clouds. They're not natural clouds. They're billowing up out of special places. And I'm going to find out.
We are on cloud 12 because that's how many new types of clouds have been added to this historic update coming from meteorologists. I'm a little biased, right? Exciting stuff, guys. All right. So the new types include the Volatus or roll cloud, which has been designated as a whole new species. You can see it gets its name from this long horizontal tube-like shape. Next one up, we have the Cavum. The hole punch cloud, this big circular gap, is sometimes caused by aircraft taking off and landing. Very easy to see, right? Makes sense there. And the hole punch cloud, this big circular gap, is sometimes caused by aircraft taking off.
And here we can see what Miss Cutie Pie Meteorologist is so perky and referring to is these holes in the clouds here, folks. Just type in hole in the clouds and you'll see all the artificial weather. This is going on everywhere around the world. There's different applications. But you can see all the artificial weather being created by these ground-based and aerosol spraying devices to create artificial weather for many different applications.
Asparagus, these are gorgeous. It's actually my favorite. It's kind of looking like at waves while you're underwater. I mean, these are actually beautiful. I mean, check these out. And then finally, we also have the big surfer waves of the Fluxus clouds. These are actually caused by winds above flowing faster than the winds within the cloud itself. So you kind of get that shape. So beautiful, right? There's just a sample of the new additions that we have. Meteorologists, sky watchers, daydreamers, we're all geeking out, guys. What do you guys think?
I
Please
love
tell me
that.
your favorite.
Who gets to name those things?
That's a great question. Wish it was me.
Like, let me look that up for you.
Okay, there we have it. Another clear sky day except for Exxon. Pumping it out like a mofo. Otherwise, beside the metallic haziness on the horizon and through the acute angle of the sun at morning hours, we have a completely clear sky. Except for the corridor of water vapor production. This was clear 30 minutes ago. You tell me this isn't affecting the climate and modifying the weather? And I'll tell you, you have a childlike mind. I'll say you're under mind control.
Can power plant cooling towers create impressive cloud formations under the right conditions? Absolutely yes. Do such cloud formations contain even the slightest fraction of the moisture being produced by storms like Harvey? Absolutely not.
So here's a NASA document on nasa.gov. From water vapor is known to be Earth's most abundant greenhouse gas. Heat amplifying effect of water vapor is potent enough to double the climate warming. Water vapor feedback can also amplify the warming effect of other greenhouse gases, such that the warming brought about by increased carbon dioxide allows water vapor to enter the atmosphere. The difference in atmosphere with a strong water vapor feedback and one with a weak feedback is enormous, thus proving the role of water vapor generators.
And then there is the highly referenced NASA cloud making machine, so-called.
Dead. Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you! It's raining! That's unbelievable! Oh, NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
What's this NASA facility actually for? What are they actually doing there? Are there 25 trillion gallons of water hiding somewhere under this facility? The NASA facility is for testing rocket engines, not weather modification, because a few raindrops may sometimes fall from the rocket engine testing under ideal conditions. Are we to believe that such tests could somehow supply 25 trillion gallons to the atmosphere that would then come back down and cover massive regions with record flooding, like what just happened with Hurricane Harvey? And are we to believe that there are perhaps hundreds or thousands of these facilities secretly hidden all over the country, which makes all the rain with some sort of invisible moisture source? Though the plume that is emitted from the NASA facility does indeed look impressive, it's still nothing more than a rocket engine testing facility. Now let's take a look at one of the so-called storm cloud weather making machines that's been featured in videos from sources that are disseminating the water vapor machines are supplying the moisture for storms false narrative. Yes, this video looks very impressive at first glance, and countless individuals and sites ran with it. Unfortunately, those same sources and sites did no due diligence investigation whatsoever. What's the true nature of the machine shown in this video? Many have claimed it was a weather modification test done in the US with Fema officials present. Now the truth. It's a primitive Russian tank decontamination vehicle, and the film was made in Russia with Russian military personnel. All the claims about this vehicle, what it does, what it's capable of doing, were patently false.
All right, so take a look with your own eyes here. Look at the upper screen there where they're decontaminating one tank. Look at the spray nozzle, folks. That's one tank. Does that compare anything at all, even close to this? Are you kidding me? This is coming from water sources where they pump through this machine, and look at the output. This is not, I mean, maybe it can be modified to use to delouse tanks or whatnot, but clearly this is not used to delouse tanks and clean them up as an old Russian machine. This is that's just patently false. Patently false.
Credibility is crucial in the fight for the greater good. Make sure you're standing on solid ground at all times in this battle.